are worth their weight in gold, really. To get the sheep in, I'd sooner take a trained border collie than I would 20 blokes.
Yeah, that's what they're bred for, they love it.
Fully trained dogs should be at least worth 2,500 to 5 grand. It can be a massive price range, like your 20 grand dogs. In reality, that's what they really want. Although they love us and we love them, they're still missing something. They'll still be happier if they're out working every day. It's the priority, really. If they get a bit of fuss and food and sheep work, then they're quite happy.
In February 2021, the world record for the most expensive sheepdog was broken. 12-month-old Kim was sold for more than £27,000. In the article, the seller said that she worked just as well as a 3-year-old sheepdog and her colour was currently in fashion.
We'd had a collie previously, which we'd lost, or we actually believe it was probably stolen. And my wife was looking through the websites to see if it was coming up for sale. And we'd been looking for a year, really. It was a tricolour, and in collie terms, which people would understand, would have a lot more border collie eye on the sheep.
Beth Watts owns Kingsdean Sheepdogs in Gloucestershire, where she trains and sells working dogs, usually auctioning them between £2,000 to £5,000 dependent on their skills.
You've got security cameras everywhere, they're all censored, so there's an alarm on the drive that goes off in the house, and then the cameras get set off as well. Like, security is a major thing, and if we were to ever move, it would have to be in the topmost priorities of our list, because it's bad enough someone nicking a dog, but you just don't know where they're going. It's such a worry, and it's like, I love my dogs, and especially with everybody else's dogs here, they love their dogs as well, and no one wants a dog nicked. But it's just, I'd hope that almost, because they know, it's pretty obvious I train dogs, they know there's a lot of dogs here, they know the security is a lot higher than just someone's pet. So that's what we're hoping for. And even then, all the dogs are locked constantly. Yeah, we're hoping. It hasn't happened yet, touch wood. But yeah, it's always a worry.
Martin Jones has recently rehomed a Welsh collie from Gloucester after losing his previous dog and has been attending sheepdog training with him for about 4 months now.
My wife spotted Jake looking to be rehomed from a couple in Gloucester, and we liked the look of him and thought it was perhaps time to have another collie. We contacted the couple and asked them if they'd like to bring him down for a bit of an assessment with us. They brought him down and basically stayed. I think I realised that there was a lot of time and effort required. What I didn't realise was that the difference in characteristics between border collies, Welsh collies, I had to take him for a couple of assessments to see whether it was even going to be possible to do what we wanted. Obviously very exuberant and very boisterous collie and a proper handful, and I could understand why the people in Gloucester felt that he needed a purpose to become manageable. And I've always had an interest in training a sheepdog, so that was the reason we started. I took him to a girl called Beth Watts up in the edge of the Forest of Dean, and she gave me her opinion at the start, which was it wasn't going to be any world-beating trial dog, but it was worth persevering with and could be quite good fun.
My initial reaction was that Martin said he was a Welsh collie. And I think Rich said the same. And we looked at him and I was like, this is going to be interesting. Because generally as a breed, they're more difficult. They're not generally, I'd say, suited to a small holder. Because they're meant to be drove-in dogs, driving along massive distances. And I think that's why people can come into a bit of trouble with them, because they're suited to a certain type of work, which isn't accessible for everyone. But I was pleasantly surprised with Jake. He does, to be fair, although Martin says he's a Welsh collie, I kind of don't class him as one, because although the colouring is different, you can get collies in that colour, but he doesn't work like one. He works more like a standard collie. Don't get me wrong, he hasn't got like the stance and the stalky in the eye. He does stare at his sheep, but not as much as some, say, trialing dogs where it's quite exaggerated. But even then, he still works like a border collie. So we got along just fine.
Following Beth's assertion that it was worthwhile pursuing, I joined the Somerset Sheepdog Trial and Training Club and was introduced to Richard, who runs training sessions on a Sunday morning, and so we started going there, and he was equally apprehensive at the start, but did give me some encouragement, and we progressed from there.
Richard Stock has been a member of the Somerset Sheepdog Training and Trialling Club for 30 years now and has been the chairman for 6, and he has freed up most of his Sunday mornings for training purposes.
Old shepherds used to make them out of just a flat piece of tin, drill a hole through. Yeah, see, but they just respond to it really good. And so what you do, what I like to do, train them on voice command first. So stop, start, left and the right. So my stop's a long blast. Generally, to come by, most people use. In the way is a different tone, like a drawn out tone. Like that. And then walk up, just. You end up with a better relationship with your dog, really, because they know if you're happy with what work they're doing, and you'll be happy if they're doing the right thing. All it is about building their confidence. And then when I feel they're confident enough, I can start just putting some commands on them, just making them behave, really. You want to be able to call your dog off the sheep when you finish with work, so that command is generally, that'll do. For left and right, it's generally like a come by, which is clockwise, and away for the right. The rake, really, is just an extension of my hand. It's like a big hand. If things aren't going right, I'll just put my hand up to the dog in the rake, keep off the sheep, and I can protect the dog as well. If I got a young dog, pup, I can protect the dog to a certain extent with the rake, just keep the sheep off.
The previous collies were just really yard dogs and sort of pets, and I regret now not having some very basic lessons and just putting the foundations in for both of the collies, which is why I was keen to actually do something with this one. Jake is 16 months now, and had perhaps a slow start in some respects, because a lot of farm collies grow up seeing lots of activity in the yard and that when they're younger, whereas he's very much a puppy because he didn't see so much from his earlier months. It's little steps, but regular little steps, and sometimes we take 2 steps forward and 1.5 or even 2 backwards, but generally we're going forward, and without Richard's instruction it would be impossible. As Richard said, Jake would make a nice farm dog, but he doesn't envisage him being a trial dog. But perhaps at some point in the future we may defy expectations.